All right, we're on YouTube Live. We are ready to go. So, welcome everyone to episode 2 of the Chefathon. We have today a couple more people. So, starting off, here is Janine Yoro and Linh Nguyen. So, say hi to everyone.
Hey guys, how you
Hi,
doing?
Joanne.
All right, so just a little bit about yourselves. So, starting with Linh, since you're the primary interviewer for Chef Tom, where are you from? What do you do?
So, hi everyone. I'm from California right now, and I'm currently a copywriter. And so, I actually met Tom when I was beginning my copywriting career, and now he's on our show. So, I'm really excited.
All right. And Janine, what about you?
Hey guys, so my name is Janine, and I actually know Scotty from Harvard Business School online. And then for me personally, I am a writer based in Los Angeles, but also a data analyst. And so we're here. I was invited by Scotty, so hi.
All
Happy
right.
to have you.
So now we have a really exciting thing going on with Chef Tom. He's gonna come on, and so let me go ahead and play his the video he sent me to introduce everyone to him. So I'm gonna full screen, or first I'm gonna share screen. All right. And then so I just gotta say, when he sent this video over, I was like, whoa, this is amazing. This completely fits the personality. Because when I first met Chef Tom, I was like, how does this
I'm
what?
actually
This guy's
really
just
loving
Peak
this countdown.
California.
This countdown's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. So yeah, just really excited about this. And in fact, we'll be adding Chef Tom soon.
Thanks.
All right.
Um,
I
So
felt
that
hungry just
was
looking at
Chef
the
Tom's.
pictures.
Yeah, that's a really amazing trailer. So yeah, excited to have Chef Tom joining us, and his video and mic should be on now. And welcome, Chef Tom. How you doing?
Good. Good to see you. Nice to be here.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Lynn. How are
Hi,
you?
Chef.
Hello.
Welcome to
How
the
you doing, Janine?
show.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling up some pictures. Then feel free take over take over.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to Aircoke's Chefathon 2020. It's our first time doing this kind of event, so we're all super excited. And I'll be your host for today. I do want to introduce Tom Murphy. Tom, would that be okay with you?
You go for it.
All right, so everyone, I want you to meet our own chef, Tom. Tom is really unique. He's a motorcycle riding holistic chef. I want you to think of Easy Rider with crystals. He's a certified chef from Le Cordon Bleu. He's a foot reflexologist, a Reiki practitioner, and an essential oil educator. So he's not only a chef, but he's a holistic healer who uses a variety of healing, natural healing approaches to relieve physical and emotional pain. So one of his most popular approaches is cooking therapy. Chef Tom, I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
So I kind of want to just start in with, what is your story, Tom? How did Tom become Chef Tom?
All right. Well, basically, I'm the oldest of six from an Irish-Italian family, and my mother always needed help with the chores around the house. And I was fascinated with the kitchen, the cooking, the whole production, everything about it. And I think she got tired of me just hanging out in the kitchen. So at the age of 8, she handed me a spoon and said, stir the sauce and don't make it burn. And there's where my culinary experience began. And it's just progressed throughout my life. Over the years, I've done many different things, as you mentioned, some of those different professions, from grocery store clerk to telephone company account manager, air traffic controller at LAX, massage therapist, foot reflexologist, business owner, essential oil educator, a Reiki practitioner, and a chef. But no matter what I did in my life, food always seemed to work its way into my life. So like back in the 20s, I was known for throwing my annual pizza parties where I made the pizza dough, I made the pizza sauce, and it got quite large. All my family and friends at the time, and all my air traffic control friends can remember these. They grew to like 150 people showing up at my house, to the point where I actually had to get one of my air traffic control buddies, who was a very large gentleman, Mo, to be a bouncer for me to kind of keep things under control. Things just started getting kind of crazy.
Wow.
And those were a lot of fun. In my 30s, I started my first business, and I was still working as air traffic controller at the time. And so I was kind of balancing those two things. And at the age of 39, basically, my doctor came to me and said, your body's shutting down. You got basically a year to live. And if you don't change your lifestyle completely. So that was my first kind of shift in my life. And I quit air traffic control the next day. And I enrolled in Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. And I actually started learning. That's where the natural healing side started coming about. I was introduced to a lot of different healing modalities, and essential oils was one of them, but it didn't take for me at the time. It was just one of many things I was learning. So I got back into that a little bit later. But I did start playing with a lot of different foods at that time, because I know myself and I want to be healthy. We all want to be healthy, but we have our own vices and we have things we're not going to be as healthy unless you're a really adamant, ardent health fanatic. You're not going to do it. You're going to do what you can do. So I researched a lot of antioxidant type foods, because I knew that I was still going to be putting stuff in my body that probably wasn't the best, but I didn't want to die. So I started adding those type of things, and I focused on that over the years. And then in my 40s, I moved to New York and expanded my business. And on business trips, I actually started writing restaurant reviews of all the restaurants I went to in the US and Canada, just because I loved everything about food. And at that time, I wasn't able to do a whole lot. I was traveling a lot. Every weekend I was gone. But then I started doing Taco Tuesday parties in my home, because I was home during the week. And those parties end up growing to like the pizza parties of my 20s, to 150 people showing up at my house for.
Oh my God, you fit that many people in your house?
Where was my invite?
You weren't born.
And I did that because upstate New York is not known for really good Mexican food. I mean, there's a lot of good Italian and stuff, but they don't have much Mexican. And I grew up in California and had time in New Mexico, and I love Mexican food. And so I wanted to share that with those people, and that the word got out. And so since there wasn't any restaurants to go to, they just came to my house. And so we would just have a party. So that was kind of cool. Then I just decided in my 50s to make it official. I went to chef school, and
wow.
I wanted to blend all my different experiences into one. And so that's how I ended up becoming Chef Tom, the motorcycle riding holistic chef.
That's a great story. So you didn't start off being a chef. You kind of took the long route.
I always loved food and I always loved the industry, and I wanted to get into it early. When I was a teenager, I had uncles that owned restaurants, and I did work for them as a kid. But they convinced me at that time, don't do it, because it was a hard business and it took all your time and it was hard to make any money at it and all that. So they convinced me out of it as a teenager, but it never went away. And I knew that eventually I needed to do something. I just needed to do it my way. And it just took me a while to figure out my way. So this is my way.
So tell us, what kind of chef are you now?
What kind of chef?
Yeah.
I actually focus on a lot of a balance of comfort foods and new experiences. That's kind of where I go. We have emotional connections to food and experiences, and that's where the comfort foods come in. And mine, and I'll share you a quick story on mine. One of my comfort foods is spaghetti and meatballs, and that's because growing up as a child, I would wake up every Sunday morning to that smell in the kitchen. You know, my mom would start the sauce in the morning, and you throw the pork meat in there and the onions and the garlic and stuff, and you just start getting that permeating throughout the whole house. And it would come through into my bedroom, and it would actually wake me up, and I would get up and come into the kitchen, and then I would start helping her in the kitchen. But because that has a positive emotional connection, we would sit down and eat that spaghetti and meatballs there. Every time I smell that now, every time I have that, it brings me back to my childhood.
Oh, I can smell it too.
I know, I'm smelling it and I'm getting hungry.
I love it.
Why are we doing this during lunchtime?
This is why I scheduled the show for me being 2 p.m. because I already ate my lunch. I'm in Texas, so hey.
I see what you did there, Scotty.
In fact, let me go ahead and full screen, or keep saying full screen. Let me share screen because I have the pictures for Chef Tom's, all his food, but this is what he was referring to.
Yes.
It's from scratch.
Those look so yummy.
Yes.
It's not a Prego jar.
No. It's a very simple recipe too. It's actually very easy to do, and I just love it. And it does bring that memory and that connection. And so I've kind of focused on a lot of comfort foods. Everybody's comfort foods are different. I just like to share this. This is mine. This is what started me down this path. And so now we go and explore yours. And then what's that connection that makes to you?
Let me go ahead and show the next one as well.
Oh yeah.
So this is the finished product.
Yeah, I ate that one as soon as we took that picture.
Choice.
So you got the sauce and the meatballs, all that's homemade. You have a cheesy garlic bread in the background, and you got to have a little bit of Italian vino to go with it to kind of wash it all down. So,
I'd like to point out to everyone who might not realize this, but Chef Tom, Lynn mentioned all these things about him. He has recently, or I guess for a while now, you've been in Temecula Valley wine country, which when I first heard about this, I was like, what is that? I don't know anything about this stuff. It's in SoCal, so you're not too far south of LA.
No.
Yeah, and that's why, you mentioned having some Italian wine and all that. So a lot of that is incorporated into your cuisine day to day.
Yes, and I was doing a lot of work with the wineries prior to COVID. We were doing food and wine pairings with my paella dishes. I have 3 different paellas, and they can pair those with different kinds of wines. And it was really, really fun. We were having a lot of fun with it. With all the stuff going on now, things are changing, and, I don't know where that's going to go, but I'm actually moving closer to LA in the next couple of weeks. So I will be moving out of the Temecula area for a while, and we'll just kind of see where that goes.
I think that really leads to actually my next question for you, Tom, was a lot of restaurants and chefs in particular have seen drastic changes because of the pandemic, and so I'm curious, how has the pandemic affected your cooking business, and how have you been able to pivot through that?
You know, it has. It has affected my industry. It's been huge. A lot of my friends are out of work, or they go back to work for a couple of weeks and then they're out again. You know, it's been up and down. And for my business also went through that same dynamic this whole year. The first quarter was great. Things were rolling. We were rocking along. And then the second quarter came, everything shut down, and I had to start rethinking what I was going to do. And then the third quarter came around and I found a little niche avenue, and I did a lot of catering at some outside venues and stuff through the summer months, and it was rocking again. And then fourth quarter, it's all shut down again. So my focus, I got too wrapped up, I think, in
stock market.
it was a good roller coaster ride this year. But my focus is now it's giving me a chance to actually reassess where I'm at and what I call taking a mid-course adjustment, which we got to do at different times. I found that I love the teaching aspect and the sharing the experiences aspect of it more than actually saying catering large events. I like to do small events. I like to do the wine tastings. I like to do that kind of stuff. So I'm going to blend those small events and the teaching through online and in person. So we'll have a little bit of both going forward. Because I think when this pandemic does finally die down, I think it's something that will come back in some shape or form in the future. So we have to kind of prepare for that. So I'm going to get more into some online stuff. And that's kind of where I went. I did start a TV show back in August. And that's been a wild process because I don't know anything about that. And it's been a learning process, but it's been fun and I enjoy it. And that's where I'm going to be able to reach people wherever they're at and share some easy recipes that they can cook up and just some stories and talk about some topics and just have some fun. So that's where I'm
about really loving the teaching aspect of cooking. Is that what cooking therapy is? So tell us more about that.
It is a little bit of that. Any kind of cooking class is a teaching component. And I've also found, even in some of the professions I've done in the past, I always end up being a teacher of some point. Like even in air traffic control, I spent 5 years at their training school being an instructor and teaching new air traffic controllers. I like that. That's always been part of it. The company I started back in my 30s was a educational consulting company. So it was going out and teaching teachers and things like that. So it's always been a part of me. So it makes sense that I would take my passion of food and do something along that lines. The cooking therapy is something I would like to explore more with folks. I think it has a lot of benefits for depression and different folks that are dealing with different areas of anxiety and stuff. And we're trying to flesh that out and work that out. There's a lot of different aspects that come with just making a meal, from just the simple chopping. You know, you have to be mindful when you're doing the chopping or you end up cutting your finger, which I've done because I wasn't paying attention. You want me to share that one?
I'd like to share a screen on another picture. And it's kind of like you mentioned, you like to have a good time. So here's you with some kind of bottle of wine, I guess.
Yep.
And because I understand, you've gone a little bit into being a private chef as well.
Yes.
And like you said, you like to try to really spread the joy. And here's you in another kitchen, and which
are those your paellas?
Those are the paellas, yeah.
I'm like, pass them to me, please.
Yeah. Because when I first told Janine about Chef Tom, I mentioned his paella. She's like, "Oh, I know what that is. We have it in the Philippines." Because Janine, you were born there, and then you said you moved to California when you were 5. You've grown up here since then, and so you've actually known about paella much longer than I did. I didn't know about it until high school Spanish. So.
Yep, it's that Spanish influence. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love Italian food too. So.
Well, I'm Italian. I love food. I love all foods. Paella is one of my favorite dishes. I will go to that. So that's why I developed 3 different styles so that we can do different things with them. We have a vegetarian one that's totally vegan, and we have another one that's all seafood, and we have one that's more traditional with different things, the sausages and the chicken and different things in it. So,
And the rabbit.
What's that?
And the rabbit.
You could put the rabbit in there too. I have done that too.
Oh wow.
So, quick question: in this picture, we zoom in a bit. I guess that's zoomed in a little too much, but it looks like
One on the left is your vegetarian, your vegan one.
okay.
And
this
the one on the right is going to be more traditional. It's going to have a blend of shrimp. So it has some seafood in it. It has a chorizo, a Spanish chorizo sausage in it. It's got chunks of chicken in it. You can put whatever kind of meat in it that you would like.
It's interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of chorizo in the paella.
Well, and I like to explain that, especially coming from Southern California, where we're used to chorizo, more of Mexican chorizo,
Yes.
which it's not a Mexican chorizo. It's more of a Spanish and Portuguese sausages. That's where I'm going with these, and they're more like almost like a salami. They're harder, so they're not real soft like you will get with the chorizos in California. I actually have a hard time finding them, and so I have to order them through import places and get what I want.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
I kind of wonder, because there's so many different types of Mexican cuisine. I wonder, would it be different from what I would find here in Texas, with Tex-Mex and, kind of Monterrey type Spanish food not Spanish, the Mexican food from Monterrey? I guess that's what I probably see more often. Would the chorizo be similar, or would it be a different type?
It is gonna be different depending on where you are in the country. Just like with Mexican food, like you're talking about, Tex-Mex is totally different than, say, New Mexico style Mexican food, or Southern Cal or Baja. It's going to be all different. It's almost like a different leg of the family. It's like they're related, but they're not the same. And so your ingredients are going to be, your stores are going to be providing the ingredients that those people in that area typically buy. So sometimes you're going to be finding that you're not going to find those ingredients you want. Especially for me, I've moved all over the country. I've lived all over the place. I've been everywhere in Canada. You find different things in different places. So I buy a lot of stuff online, and there's a lot of online companies now that sell all those specialty stuff, like all the rice and stuff in these paellas came from Spain. So I just order them from a company in Spain, and they just ship them out and, through Amazon or whatever, and they just do their thing.
All right. And then earlier you mentioned you do a lot of Italian food as well. I love this kind of stuff.
This is probably one of my most requested appetizers, and it's just a version of a caprese salad. So you have a little tomato, you have a little of the fresh mozzarella cheese, and a fresh basil, and a balsamic glaze that I put on it. And I just stick a little bit on a toothpick, and then people just walk around at the parties. It's a very easy one to make. It looks great. It's fun for parties, and like I say, you can pound these out in just a couple minutes. They're just super simple.
Yeah.
I think I've had that before.
You have had that before.
Yes, it's delicious. So Tom actually taught me that different tomatoes taste differently, and like they have a different texture too. So it's like a special tomato for this recipe, right?
This one I do like to try and use like a cherry tomato. There's grape tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, cocktail tomatoes, and they're all kind of in the same size. But the cherry tomato it's crisp, it's clean, and it's the same size as usually the little mozzarella balls that you can find in your grocery store. So you want the look. Whenever you put together a meal or anything you're putting together, you're trying to balance. You want to try and incite all five senses. So it's got to look good. Okay, so you got to have that visual appeal to it. It's got to taste good. It's got to have a good mouth feel to it. When you're cooking, you're listening. You got your audio going. You have everything happening. If you can incite all five senses, you got a winner of a dish. And I believe that's one of the reasons why, like, fajitas are so popular in restaurants, because you hear them. A lot of food that comes out, you don't hear them, but they're bringing that plate of fajitas out and it's sizzling and stuff, and you see the smoke, you can see everything. It's just like it incites all those senses.
It's like the sizzle and the experience. Like every time someone comes out with something sizzling, I'm like, ooh, what's that? And everybody else wants to look over, right? So
that's why at restaurants a lot of times, if they do any kind of desserts like at the table, I'll always order like a baked Alaska or something like that. I want to see the flame. I want to see everything going on. Give me some cherries Jubilee or something like that.
Give me the fireworks.
That's it. That's it. Plus, I was also known as, they started calling me Campfire in school because I love to flambe, and everybody was afraid of it because it's just, and I'm just like, let's go. And I just have this big old flame, and they're like, oh my God, you're going to burn this place down. I'm like, no.
So that's why you have the flames on your bandana.
That is, I'm all about flames.
So I want to ask you this, Tom, because I think a lot of people would say that you're not a conventional chef. And, you know, for me, like, I don't think you're a conventional person because you have so many different, like, parts of you. You ride motorcycles and you do, like, Reiki meditation, but you also cook. But you cook with essential oils. So it's like all of these different, you know, aspects of yourself. I'm wondering, you know, how do all of your, you know, different interests and, you know, specialties help you in your cooking and, you know, and in your life?
You know, I think it boils down to relatability. Because I have different aspects of my life. I love to ride my motorcycle. I can talk to other people that are motorcycle riders, men and women, and they understand, and I understand what they're talking about because I get that same feeling when I ride. I love to ballroom dance. So I can talk to people that do you can do ballroom dancing. I could talk to people that love that. I understand that. Those are all parts of me. Every piece of what I do, from the motorcycle riding to the cooking to the essential oils and everything, is personal to me. And then I can relate to those people in that group. And we can share an experience that then I can share some other experience that they haven't had. So I can talk to people in one group and say, well, have you tried this? And it's another area that's something of mine. And because we have built a relationship, they will try it. They might not like it. It might not be something that continues in their life, but my goal is to provide as many new experiences for people to grow, because every experience is growth. And I've had a few.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I think another like new experience for me and, you know, getting to know you was cooking with essential oils, because literally, like, before I met you, I never heard of anybody, not even a chef, like cooking with essential oils. I didn't even know you could cook them. So from you, what I learned was that you can actually like use them for a lot of things.
Yes, you can. Essential oils is a explosive topic. It's huge, and we don't really have the time to really do it justice today. But I'll show you a quick story of my journey on essential oils and why it's important to me. It was introduced to me 20 years ago when I went to Pacific College Oriental Medicine for the first time. I didn't take to them like most Westerners. It's just not part of it's not what we grew up with. So it didn't stick. But through the course of my personal health path for myself, I kept getting introduced to them in different areas, and I would start to learn about them a little bit more. And every time I had an experience, it was kind of like that aha moment. It's kind of like finding a quarter in the sofa, you know. It's like, wow, I really can't buy much with it. So it's like, okay, but over the course of years, and you keep finding those quarters, and it gets bigger and bigger, and now it becomes substantial.
I see.
And the last probably introduction to the oils that I had was about 4 years ago. I was introduced to a brand that had a line of culinary oils. And that's always been a huge topic because there's a lot of people say don't ever take them internally. And that's because of stuff that they put in with the oils, and it's not good for you. So I had to do a lot of research to see if this was safe. Once I was comfortable with that, I purchased a bunch of the culinary oils and I started playing with them. And I love the health benefits behind them. I love the flavors. They're very, very concentrated. So I like to expose people about the essential oils. I don't try and convince them they need to use them for whatever reason. And I don't care whether they like them for health reasons or taste reasons or food cost reasons. It doesn't really matter to me. What it matters is to me is that I am able to give them a new experience. And if it's something they're interested in, then I will be more than willing to help them down that path, because it is a winding, tricky path. But it has many, many benefits to it. I've found them for myself the last 4 years have helped me tremendously.
That's great. Yeah, and I think kind of shifting topic a bit, we've had a lot of fun getting to know you, talk about, you as a motorcycle riding. I'm probably getting these in the wrong order, but I'm trying to remember what Lynn first wrote is
Motorcycle riding holistic chef.
right. Yeah. Yeah. And then it was, we started talking, getting to know you, and we're saying, yeah, is there a charity you'd like to support? And part of this episode is to say, hey, everyone, have a good time, just hang out, find out some stuff, see a few pictures of food. And one thing that you said is you really want to support LIFRA, LIFRA, which stands for Life from the Ashes. And some of what they do also does involve food, but I think it'd be better if I go ahead and share my screen again. I'll play their video, and I'll bring in two of their team members, Judy and Nicole. So I'll go and share my screen. I'll play the video, and we'll have them tell us a little bit about what they do.
LIFRA was created to help survivors of Northern California wildfires after devastating loss.
LIFRA saved my family's life and gave me another chance. My wife and I are both working and will only go forward.
With your support, we can help our fellow Californians rebuild their lives. Thank you.
All right. So I just want to point out that video was actually created by Judy's son. It's 30-second clip. He created that. And welcome, Judy, Nicole. How are you doing?
Hi, Scotty. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine. How's everything going for you?
I'm good. Well. Thank you for asking.
And Judy, how are you doing?
Hi, Scotty. We're great. We're great. Thanks.
Yeah, and thank you to your son for the 30-second video. We understand he's working on a longer one as well. We would be glad to broadcast that when it's ready. But definitely thank you to your son as well for putting that video together.
Yeah, thank you.
So I guess
Absolutely.
yeah. So I guess Chef Tom, you mentioned that you've known Judy for some time now.
Yes. Excuse me. One of the things that's important to me and has been, and I talk about this a lot now, is what I consider my 4 F's, and that's family, friends, fun, and food. Judy is a lifelong friend. I've known her since I was a kid. And when I live in Southern California, Judy's in Northern California, and we had some really bad fires the last few years. And I actually was personally touched by a fire that was threatening my community. That was close, and I watched the firefighters and then the big airplanes dropping the retardant within yards of my house to save that. And they made a stand and saved our whole community. And I started talking to Judy when I found out she was starting a nonprofit to help families that had lost everything. And what I remember was it started with the fire in Paradise, California, where all the families lost everything. I mean, everything. And they were out there supporting them just daily, just trying to just give them something to keep going. That I just wanted to be a part of it. And so I have been lucky to be a part of LIFRA since almost the inception of it. And it's been a fantastic experience. And so I would let them take it from here and tell them what they do.
Thanks, Tom. I just want to say that the person who is the boots on the ground and the eyes and the ears and who's bringing people food and clothing every day is Nicole. Every single day, by the way. I have to tell her to take a rest every once in a while. And she is the reason that we founded the organization. I connected with her 2 years ago. Around this time, actually, it was the holidays. It was the campfire in Paradise was finally controlled around Thanksgiving of 2018. And we decided in my family, I said, let's not give anybody presents this year. Let's try to support some families. So there were these message boards on Facebook of, adopt a family kind of thing. So I said, hey, I'd like to adopt a family. And she answered, and she's like, I've got this family, they've got nothing. And we messaged, on Messenger back and forth for like 4 or 5 months, maybe, before we ever even, at one point I said, who are you? And why are you doing this? And because she wasn't with an organization, she just lived close by. And she said, I don't have a lot, but I've got a roof on my head and I've got food. And I've seen all of these people who have nothing. And even, FEMA comes and Red Cross comes and everything, which is great. But then they leave, after the acute thing. And what Nicole sees is that people just still need help. And sometimes it's just like a $25 gas card. And sometimes it's, food for the rest of the month for their family. So she's amazing. And that's why I wanted to give her a structure, that's why I founded the organization, to give her a structure to do this work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judy.
Yeah, I think one thing that really stood out to me is, I've gotten to know Nicole over the past, I think we've been talking for probably 5-6 weeks now. And,
Right.
something that stood out to me is, and I didn't realize this, Nicole, that you've been doing food deliveries and stuff every day until, maybe this past week. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just to show people, a couple of pictures that you've sent me, the volunteers. And, you've always said that a big part of this is making sure everyone has enough. And in fact, just a couple of days ago, you emailed me and you were saying, and one thing that really stood out and really brought tears to my eyes is we're talking about bringing these chefs on to entertain people, talking about great food. And you're saying, it's important to remember food is not a privilege, it's a human right. And yesterday's episode,
Absolutely.
Nefertiti, I told her the same thing, and she was saying, yeah, that's why I prepare meals at the LA Downtown Center for Homeless Women. Road Central Kitchen coming on the next episode, they're going around sending a lot of food, preparing food, helping restaurants stay afloat. But what's different is in your case, you're directly delivering to these families.
Yes.
Yeah, Nicole, tell us where you are right now.
Yeah.
I'm actually sitting in my truck, and we are going to be making deliveries to Calusa for a mom, and she needs diapers, and we have food. I don't know if you guys can see.
Yeah.
My truck is packed. We have food, we have diapers, we have clothing to be delivered today. It is a daily thing, and I'm honored and I'm blessed to be able to do it. Me and my sons got together. That's how we met Judy as well. We were connected families. We spent a lot of time, money, a lot of tears in them. It doesn't stop. They still need help, and I'm honored to be able to do it. I'm honored that I was able to give my child this experience as well, and I'm honored the people I've met, like Judy, like Tom, like Scotty, through this, and I'm honored to be able to provide for these families. We can't do it alone. It takes a village to be able to get these supplies out. We need supplies. We help as many people as we can. I often come back to my car, I'm all teared up too. And each one has a different story. Each one has a different need. Their needs change daily.
I was able to help make some deliveries with Nicole a few weeks ago in October when the Berry Creek fire was happening. She took me with her and I just tagged along, and we delivered some clothing to this woman in a hotel, and she was wearing boots that had holes in them from embers that had fallen on her boots and burned holes into her shoes. And we handed her some clothing, and she said, this was like mid-October, and she said, thank you. She said, I've been wearing this dress since September 28th. And I mean, and Nicole does this every day, right? This is what she does every day. So I think she's probably one of the strongest people I know.
So Tom was right when he said, like, some of these people, they've literally lost everything.
Exactly.
Even the clothes.
Yes, they have. They have lost everything. They don't have even nothing to cook on. Right now, we're trying to get sleeping bags and tents out for survivors. And a really big thing is, which is in great need right now, is propane to keep them warm so they can cook. Crock pots is another big thing. They can't cook a meal in their hotel rooms. We've been providing those. We need help to provide more of these services to these survivors. A lot of them are very traumatized. Some of them don't even know who to call. Then that's when we come in, and if it's helping them do paperwork even, or a listening ear, a hug. They went through the fires. They seen death right beside them, trying to get out of the fires. It's not easy. It's very rewarding to be able to help somebody in need like that. We do what we can, and we try to help as many people as we can, whatever that need may be.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out, recently, Nicole, you and Judy were explaining to me the terminology shift, where growing up, we would have thought, oh, okay, we're talking about victims, where you're saying, no, we need to respect their dignity and address them as survivors.
Absolutely. I've run into a lot of survivors as well, and they like that we call them survivors. They want to be known as survivors and not victims. Lifer will always respect their dignity. We will not plaster their pictures or their faces all over just for advertisement for our foundation, and they also really appreciate that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And rather than doing that, I think it's much better. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Instead, what we'd like to do is point everyone towards the website, Lifra, LIFRA.org, Life from the Ashes. And right here, you can donate right away. Christmas is coming up. A lot of these families, not only did they lose their homes and their kitchens and everything, they've also lost a lot of the toys that their kids want, and if anyone is able to donate and help out in some way, please consider doing so. We're all going through a tough year around the world, but for some of us, we are doing well enough despite the pandemic. Please consider helping families that are really, really struggling with the pandemic, and including some of the families affected by previous year's wildfires who are still trying to, come back from that disaster. So please consider going to lifer.org. You can donate right here on the front page. It's very easy to find. And just please consider, even $1, every bit helps with these families and their kids. And I understand you also help with the firefighter families a lot too, right?
Absolutely. We help with the fire. They lost their homes too. I don't want to mention names, but the chief volunteer firefighter out of Berry Creek lost his home as well. And they also became, volunteers. They brought us up quilts, beautiful quilts at our last pop-up to give to survivors and keep warm. We absolutely do assist with them food and Bombas socks. We've given them out to over 50 organizations this year. A lot of them were the fire departments as well and their families. Absolutely. And if you can go back to the first screen you had showed, those two pictures.
Mm-hmm. Let me go and pull them up. Go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah, so I just wanted to just say that, and I didn't address those, was that one of those pictures was we fed the community in Berry Creek. I think I lost you for a second. So we fed the community. We did a pop-up. Of course, the supplies and the pop-ups are strictly for the survivors, but the food is for everybody. And I'd like to thank SUA International Bay Area chapter for providing 117 meals that fed over 400 people that day, with fully cooked dinners. And Lifer also sponsored another meal with the fully cooked turkeys and all the sides and everything like that. The other picture, what we do when we're not able to do pop-ups, per se, and be there every day, we have a donation. The other picture, so it'd be the first picture. We supply Lakeside Market in Orville with a donation. They have a donation table we supply, and survivors can come there and they can get socks, they can get food, they can get hygiene supplies. So yeah, we're really proud about being able to do that as well as making deliveries daily and doing events and doing our pop-ups. It's an honor and it's a blessing to be able to do that to help survivors, and the needs are great.
Yeah. And I think one of the really amazing things as well is everything you've talked about, everything Judy has talked about, just in general, the idea of, life from the ashes, you've really incorporated that into your company, your nonprofit's logo. And I'm going to share my screen again. It's just, sometimes I got to change from one desktop to another so, and here it is. This logo, Judy, you said that this was designed by your friend. Go ahead and explain, who is she? Tell us about the logo. Go ahead and explain all this.
Yeah, so I contacted her. She's done some work for me for other stuff before, and she's really creative. And I told her I told her the name of the group. I told her what it is we were trying to do, and I sent her a couple of pictures of like phoenixes, the phoenix rising from the ashes. Yeah. And she came back with this, which I just thought was perfect because it starts, it sort of it evokes a phoenix with the kind of wings there. And the colors go from the red and the yellow of the fire into the gray of the ashes, and then into the green of kind of new life sprouting. I didn't have her change a thing. It was like the first thing she sent me. I said, this is it. Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Her name is, by the way, Sarah Noto, Noto.
Sarah Noto. So anyone who's looking for Sarah Noto to help out, feel free, reach out. I'm sure Judy can help put you in touch.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
And yeah, so so far we've talked about Chef Tom, how you got started as a chef, your love for food, how that's translated to through your life, just saying to everyone, hey, just live the life you want. And here's life from the ashes. You've known Judy for so long. Nicole was just constantly doing this. And I didn't realize that Nicole, you've been doing this just day to day, because I know you live in the area, but for you to be doing it day to day. And then life from the ashes comes into existence as a result. So this really is, it was kind of a one person Avengers, like a superhero, just saying,
Absolutely.
I know you're never gonna admit to that, but I would say
no.
A lot of these people, you might really have been the person keeping them going, and now here's Life from the Ashes. People can send donations through liferoad.org.
So I have to tell you, when I this is how the idea came. So we have been messaging daily for 2 years now, And like I said, we messaged back and forth for many, many months before we even like had a conversation. And so I was sitting, I'm a meditator. I meditate every day. And so I was sitting in meditation and just like thinking, how can we help these people? And this idea came, I mean, like fully formed. Here's the URL. Here's what the website looks like. Here's the name of it. And I thought, oh, well, I guess I better do something. So I called her and I said, what would you think of this? And she said, this is what I was born to do. I mean, she was doing it without the structure of an organization. She was just doing it anyway. And so I really think that she sort of has brought it into being through her just dedication.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you for helping so many survivors and starting this foundation for me to be able to keep helping survivors. Judy does a lot of work behind the scenes. If I'm not out delivering, we're doing work behind the scenes as well. It's not a choice. It's really not a choice to do it. We have it. We could do it. It's not a choice. They need supplies, and we're able to get it to them fast.
Yeah, and
I just wanted to say thank you, and I want to say thank you to you too, Scotty and Tom too, for choosing Life from the Ashes to be a part of your episode, your show, and I just want to really say thank you on behalf of all the survivors as well.
Yeah, and thank you for doing everything you've been doing, and you know, just the phone calls we've had, and when you talk about all these things, and it just blows me away. So, you know, hopefully anyone watching, if you're a survivor, we hope that this episode has helped you just have some fun and know that, you know, people in other places, you know, we are thinking of you. We do want to help out. I guess, Judy, Nicole, is there anything you'd like to close our episode with? Is there anything specific that we can do to help with Christmas coming up?
So there's two things I'll start, Nicole, and you can finish. So one of, you know, in the winter, it's quite cold up in the North Valley, right? It's Paradise, it's Chico and Calusa. So we've decided to do regular propane giveaways. It's basically people come with an empty tank and we'll fill it. So it's sort of a propane event where so they can get heat for their house and also to be able to cook. And so we're going to be doing that twice a month until the weather gets warmer. And then we're also going to be doing toy drives. Do you want to talk about toys, Nicole, or Christmas gifts?
Sure. So last year, we was able to adopt many families, and it just the mother's face, you know, to be able to provide even just a toy to their child that has lost everything is, you know, I've personally been there. I think that's why I volunteer and I try to help families as much as I do, because I personally know what that feels like, and to provide that for a family, they absolutely do appreciate it. And if we can, we are doing a toy drive. We absolutely could use any and every, you know, toys or a monetary donation, and we can go purchase the toys. I can't express enough how much it means to that mama or that dad to be able to provide for their children.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Take your time.
We're all tired, but it's so emotional too. You know, it's yeah.
I'd like to just share my screen one more time to show the website again. You know, everyone, if you're able to help out, you know, whatever there is you can do, go to the website, donate money, if you're nearby, time, if you're able to send supplies. Lifra.org, LIFRA.org. It's amazing, just helping, you know, just all these people whose lives have been affected, you know, just helping them get back on their feet, you know, try to catch up and, you know, just with Christmas coming up in less than 3 weeks, you know, just if there's anything anyone can do to help, please consider donating. We hope that you know, you've had a great time, you know, with us.
Yes.
You know, you've enjoyed watching Chef Tom talk about his life, and you know, just checking out his food, you know, hearing the funny stories, and you know, we also hope that this has help you really, you know, get your mind off things, and also realize that as blessed as we are, there's still a lot of work left to be done to help survivors. And
Yes.
Judy, Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your
Thank
tears.
you.
Chef
Thank
Tom,
you.
thank you so much for coming on, and for even telling us about Life from the Ashes, for connecting us to them. And obviously Lynn and Janine for helping interview Chef Tom while I tried to figure out all the different technical what's going on.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you, Tom, and thank you, Scotty. Thank you, everyone. It's really an honor to be here.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's part of the
Thank
village.
you.
Well, that's
Thank you, party. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, party. Yes, it's a village, and
Well,
I
anyone who
appreciate the
wants
work
more
you guys are doing.
information, feel free to check it out in the video description below. Anyone who is wondering if you're watching this in the future, can I still donate? Yes, you can always donate. The link is lifer.org/donate. That's also in the video description. I'll update it some more with more information if you want to connect with Chef Tom, Judy, Nicole, Lifer as a whole. You know, if you want to find out more about, you know, what Janine and Lynn do with their brands and stuff, definitely love to help everyone get connected. And yeah, same thing that we've been saying. Please consider donating to lifer.org. Help people out. Help these families. At the least, please consider helping their kids have a good Christmas to close out 2020. So
Absolutely.
yeah, this has been a tough year, but you know, let's all do what we can to help each other.
Thank you all so very much. I appreciate you.
And thank you again for your time. Best of luck with everything else you're doing today, Nicole, Judy, Chef Tom. And we couldn't be happier with what you're doing. If there's anything we can do to help out, please let us know. Anyone watching, please check the video description below. You'll be able to find the information you need to donate and support everything they're doing through Life from the Ashes.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yo.
Have a great day, everybody.